Coming out of the room, but they should be arriving any moment now, hopefully. And I'm trying to gauge how many people want to speak, and I know that I've spoken with a couple of you, and some of you said I need 2 minutes. Somebody said I need 4 minutes. I know there are other people that would really like 8 or 9 minutes. So what I'd like to do is if you're going to speak less than 3 minutes, that's who I want to get out of the way first, whoever has to speak the least in terms of time, so that the folks who may need a few more minutes to speak would be near the end of this, okay? That way, if Miss Hunt is the last one here, she can talk forever. We don't even have to stay and listen to her. But she would be the last one to speak because she can fill hours. Okay, that being said, does anybody out there raise your hand if you have 2 or 3 minutes to say what you have to say? And when you come up, if you would, come up to the table, just introduce yourself. Oh, we need to open the meeting first, yeah. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Creel. Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Glavin. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, it's approved on a 6-0 vote. If the clerk would notice that Mr. Marshall is out of the room. Okay, I think we're good to go now. Is that correct? All right, so Brandon, if you would introduce yourself so the clerk can get your name and the organization you represent. She'll note that, and then you're good to start.
My name is Brandon Boudreau. I'm the Executive Director of the Maritime and Seafood Industry Museum. And I even printed this out so I can just read and get on out y'all's way.
Outstanding.
Everybody's good. Everybody's good. So on behalf of the museum, I want to respectfully ask the city of Biloxi maintain the museum's funding at its current level in the upcoming budget. We know that the difficult decisions that must be made during the city's budget process and appreciate the support the city has provided the museum over the years. This continued investment is extremely important to our ability to preserve Biloxi's history, educate our community, attract visitors, and maintain one of the city's most recognizable cultural institutions. The Maritime and Seafood Industry Museum is more than a museum. We preserve and share the story of the people and the industries that built Biloxi and the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Shrimping, oystering, commercial fishing, wooden boat building, seafood processing, net making. Maritime trades are not simply chapters in our history, they are part of Biloxi's identity. The museum ensures that these stories of artifacts, vessels, photographs, and traditions are preserved for future generations. City funding helps us continue the mission in several ways: preserving Biloxi's history and culture, educating the next generation, supporting tourism and economic activity, operating and preserving the Biloxi schooners, and hosting community events such as our drawdown. It also maintains a major city asset on Point Cadet. When you come across that bridge, we're the first thing that somebody sees right there. The museum is also working toward the future. We're pursuing projects to preserve our historic vessels, improve the museum campus, strengthen our educational programs, expand partnerships with local schools and community organizations, and ensure that Biloxi's maritime tradition remains relevant to future generations. Reducing the museum's city funding would have an impact beyond our day-to-day operating budget. It could affect our ability to maintain our facilities and vessels, providing educational programming, preserving collections, retaining quality staff, and successfully leverage outside funding. Maintaining the current level of support gives us the stability necessary to plan responsibly and continue building additional sources of revenue. I recognize that every department and organization coming before you has needs, and I do not take the city's support for granted, and I do not envy any one of you sitting up here having to make any of these decisions. We're not asking for an increase, we're simply asking that the museum's current funding be maintained. We believe this represents a reasonable investment in an institution that preserves Biloxi's past while contributing to its present and future. The museum belongs to this community. It tells Biloxi's story, preserves traditions, and cannot be replaced once they are lost. It educates our children, it welcomes our visitors, and it provides experiences that are uniquely Biloxi. I'd welcome the opportunity to meet with any members this committee outside of here. I know y'all have a lot of people to meet with today, but I just want to say thank you for your consideration and most importantly for your continued support for the Maritime and Seafood Industry Museum and the maritime heritage of our city.
Thank you, Mr. Boudreau. Any council members have a question or two? Now'd be the time. I'd like to move through this as quickly and efficiently as possible, but if you have a question, Mr. Creel.
Real quick, Brandon, how many employees are currently employed?
Full-time?
Yeah. Well, that would be on city insurance.
We have 2.
2. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else?
I got one.
All right, Mr. Nail.
How many people did y'all have come through there this year?
I'd have to pull those numbers. I know for our summer camp this year, I looked at those numbers this morning. We had 499 kids go through our summer camp this summer.
Thank you.
I got,
Mr. Clavin.
yeah. Mr. Boudreau, appreciate your transitional leadership. I don't think you've missed a beat, getting the Seafood Industry Museum on track. And it does, thank you for those words, it is more than a museum. It is embedded, it's ingrained, it's part of our DNA, and it's one of all the museums are important, but if there's one that speaks to our identity and our saltwater community, this is the one. Now, I do have a question on the audit expense. So that's around $13,000.
Yes, sir.
Is it still that amount?
I believe so. They just finished the audit last week.
And yeah, so that has given some folks heartburn. That particular expense, that seems to be an administrative expense, and we've been covering that.
And I don't know if that's able to be bid out to other.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think we need that is if I would focus on one thing, that would be one that I would focus on. But the good that you do from babies to children to young adults to adults and seniors, letting them know our history, our legacy, and the blood, sweat, tears that built Biloxi, this is it. And, so I certainly support you. We're in a really, really tough year this year with our budget, looking at all these non-departmentals. And we got some tough decisions. We're spending a lot of money. We're somewhere last year 2.1. This year's around 2.6. It needs to be trimmed down to about 1.5, and we're trying to fit that round peg in that square hole. So thank you, sir.
Thank y'all. As I said, I don't envy any of y'all, but I do thank y'all for all your support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boudreau. Anybody else have 2 or 3 minutes? Mr. Joe.
Patrick Chubb.
Oh,
At the Harrison,
Patrick, I'm sorry, I didn't. All you people with no hair look alike.
the glasses.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. I'm with the Harrison County Soil and Water Conservation District, and we have 1 employee, and they're not paid off of City of Biloxi. We spread our finances primarily through Harrison County, so I'm going to beg them for money tomorrow morning at their meeting. And then we also ask all the other 4 municipalities in Harrison County for funding. We're keeping ours also the same at $5,000 request to City of Biloxi. Last year, you were able to give us just over $4,000. Every little bit helps. We try to spread our risk by spreading it to all municipalities. What we actually do for the City of Biloxi, we educate teachers and we go into classrooms and teach children about agriculture and environmental education.
Mr. Chubb? Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Chubb. Question
real quick.
Mr.
So
Creel.
you mentioned throughout other municipalities and the county, is there any funding sources from any school board in the classrooms that you go and educate?
Not from the actual school boards, no.
Okay, all right, thank
They
you.
go directly to the
To the
cities.
administrator, okay. And so you go to city schools, county schools, private schools?
Correct.
All above, okay, thank you.
Anybody within the limits of Harrison County.
All right, any other questions from the council?
We do also seek our one admin also writes grants. We have a grant writer.
All right.
We do solicit those type grants as well.
Thank you, Mr.
Actually,
Chubb. Yeah.
a conduit for the city of Biloxi. We've brought to councilman and to your engineering department. We're the conduit with Natural Resource Conservation Service to be able to help with EWP monies, which would be cost-sharing funding for the city should you have any emergencies.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chubb. Anybody else? 3 minutes. Ms. Riley.
Stacey Riley, the CEO of Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence. And I know it's not lost on me that each time you see me, I'm usually here asking for money or begging for stuff or reporting problems and stuff. But I just want to be here to kind of reiterate what we do as an agency. You know, we are the oldest and largest victim service provider in the state of Mississippi, and we provide a variety of literally life-saving services to individuals who have been through things that we cannot even imagine what they've been through. So what I'm asking you is to please consider keeping our agency in your budget and seeing the value of the services that we provide to individuals who've been impacted by trauma. Of the almost 4,000 people we served in 2025, 800 and something of those were Biloxi citizens who came to our shelter, who received food when they were hungry, who received a forensics exam by our clinic after they've been sexually assaulted or strangled. We provide our preschool program that provides services to youth who have been exposed to things at their very early 3 to 5 year old lives, and a variety of things. We do civil legal services. We're in the municipal court here providing advocacy services for people who've been through domestic violence situations. So we're a very well-established program in our community. We want to be able to stay on the Biloxi's budget, and you to help us keep the lights on and help us keep saving lives and help us to keep doing what we do until one day when we eliminate interpersonal violence.
Thank you, Ms. Riley. Any questions, Mr. Creel?
And this is a housekeeping question for me. So looking at this list, we have Gulf Coast Women's Center, Family Justice, Domestic Violence, and Women's Resource Center. Are you one of those three?
No, we are the Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence, the shelter, and then the Family Justice Center. That's us, because we have the shelter program that provides the shelter services for people who are escaping domestic violence and human trafficking, and then we have our walk-in center here right down the street on Porter Avenue. This is what we call the Family Justice Center, where people can walk in anytime, Monday through Friday, and get immediate services. So we have our public location, the Family Justice Center, and the center, which is our shelter.
Okay. All right. So it looks like for my colleagues on your non-departmental, it's non-departmental 114. So it's listed out here as Gulf Coast Women's Center. Just a heads up. And so you did say the Family Justice, Domestic Violence, that's you as well?
That's part of us, yes. That's a project we've been working on for a little while to create a one-stop shop for victims of interpersonal violence to walk into and get immediate assistance.
All right.
That's separate from the shelter.
So just those two, you don't have the Resource Center?
That's a different agency.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Nail?
Located on the end of Rodenburg?
You can't tell. Oh, okay. I'm supposed to know where it's at.
It's that undisclosed location.
In Rodenburg in Wisconsin.
Yes.
It's in Green Bay, yeah.
But give me a call and I'll give you a tour.
Any other questions?
Just a quick question,
Mr. Shoemaker?
and this may be a very stupid question. However, I would like to ask it anyway. If any of this funding is reduced or decreased, what kind of impact will that have?
So we use money that the city gives us as match to be able to apply for other funding sources. So if we don't have enough match, we can't apply for other funding sources. We have to bring money to the table. It's local dollars for us to be able to get federal and other state dollars. So it will impact our ability to leverage those funds to get additional money. Because, we're asking the city for $33,000, which, is a considerable amount of money, but we have a $5 million budget that runs our entire agency and all of our services, and we need those local dollars to continue to leverage and bring in additional dollars. So whatever we don't get locally, we lose on the large scale.
So it could be very detrimental if any of this money is cut.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
And in our grants that we get from federal, state, local, and foundations, they don't cover everything 100%. So whatever we don't get locally, it impacts our ability to keep those services, those employees, and everything else in the agency to keep doing the services that we provide.
Any other questions of Ms. Riley? Thank you, Stacy, very much. 3 minutes, Mr. Payne.
Good evening, gentlemen. I spoke to you just a few weeks ago, but I wanted to stop by again and see if we might have any questions and let you know what our final numbers for the companies were this year. We currently have 12 companies, 103 permitted drivers, and 78 permitted taxi cabs on the road in the 3 cities. At the request of Mr. Weaver, I sent all you gentlemen this a while back, and all it is it explains on it exactly how many fares were dropped off by which company in each of the cities and gave the overall percentage. This year, Biloxi's dipped from 48% to 45%, which decreased the amount of money that we're requesting from the city council and the administration this year for our budget.
Any questions of Mr. Payne? Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it. I know you're the CASA lady.
Yes, sir, you're right. Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. My name is Cynthia Zapata, and I'm the Executive Director of CASA of South Mississippi. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be with you this afternoon and for the continued support that the City of Biloxi has provided to CASA. CASA provides trained community volunteers who are appointed by your youth court to advocate for children who have experienced abuse and neglect, both inside and outside of the courtroom. And Biloxi citizens continue to answer the call. Today, we have 16 CASA volunteers that are residents of the City of Biloxi. And so far this year, CASA of South Mississippi has served 45 innocent child victims that were removed from homes in the Biloxi city limits. We also have 2 staff members, one of which is with us this afternoon, who call Biloxi home. This partnership is absolutely local. When I submitted our funding request in June, 160 Harrison County children were awaiting a CASA volunteer. Today, that number is 93. Since July 1, 21 volunteers, 10 new and 11 returning volunteers stepped up to take on new cases to help us significantly close that gap. But we're certainly not finished. Just last weekend, we spent the weekend from Thursday evening until Sunday afternoon and trained 11 new volunteers right here in Biloxi. Those new volunteers will be sworn in early September, and we have another training class planned later that month. But today, 93 children in Harrison County are still waiting. It costs approximately $3,000 per year for us to provide a CASA volunteer, a trained advocate, the professional support that volunteer brings to advocate for these children in court. That advocacy involves visiting the children monthly, regardless of where they're placed. If they're lucky, they're placed in their community of origin, maybe here in Biloxi, but that's not always the case. We don't have any foster homes here, so we could have kids placed from here all the way to Starkville. These CASA volunteers that live in our communities go and see these kids monthly, regardless of their placement. They make sure that they're seeing them, that they're safe, and that they have needs that are identified as being unmet. They connect with CPS, and they make reports to the court at regular intervals. Oftentimes giving access to things to these kids that otherwise we might take for granted. That is why we are respectfully considering or asking you to consider the $20,000 allocation from the city, which is a standstill request from last year's allocation that you graciously approved. It's an investment that is the equivalent to providing CASA advocacy and support to 6 children. But rather than me telling you what a CASA volunteer can mean in the life of a child, I'd love for you to take the next 90 seconds or so and hear from one of our board members who has firsthand lived experience. I'd like to introduce CASA of South Mississippi's board member, Haley Wing.
Good afternoon. My name is Haley Wing, and I currently serve on the Board of Directors of CASA of South Mississippi. Before I was a board member, I was a foster child, local in this community. I spent 8 years in the foster care system. I don't allow those 8 years to define me, in large part because of what CASA gave me, a family. Today, I'm a wife of a veteran and a mother to a beautiful daughter, and someone who has enormous love for my family, for CASA. I want to share a smallest part of my story firsthand on what having an advocate, CASA advocate, can mean for a child. When I was 16, I was separated and placed in a different foster home from my sister. I was fortunate enough to have a CASA advocate, but my sister didn't. Because I had someone advocating for me, I received the support that changed my life. I was able to attend college. My time in foster care was extended, and I received assistance with an apartment until I was 21, along with many other benefits. Those programs and resources are incredibly difficult for children in foster care to navigate. I had someone fighting for me, someone making sure I wasn't simply forgotten and left to fend for myself until I turned 18. My sister, on the other hand, she didn't have a foster care advocate. She didn't have CASA. She only had herself to advocate for her. She requested an extended period in foster care, like I did, and was denied. She requested apartment assistance, car assistance, and was denied of all. The difference was the advocacy I received from CASA. My CASA advocate changed my life and is still in my life till this day. She fought to make sure I had the opportunities and resources I needed to succeed. Because you don't just stop being a parent at 18 if you have kids. And today, when I hear that there are still children waiting for a CASA volunteer, I know what it really means. It means, as a child who may be facing the same decision my sister and I had to face, but without a person standing beside them asking questions, opening doors, and making sure the kids' voices are heard. Every child deserves to have someone fighting for them. I know because I was one of those children. That's why I'm asking the city of Biloxi to continue supporting CASA and the children that we serve. Your investment in CASA is an investment in what happens to these children, not only while they're in foster care, but when they have the opportunity to leave. Thank you for allowing me to share my story.
Thank you for sharing your story, Haley. Any questions from the council?
I'll just ask one quick one if I may.
Sure,
I'll
Mr.
ask
Shoemaker.
you the same question. If this funding is cut or decreased, will it be detrimental to y'all's mission?
Absolutely. With the 93 kids that we have that need volunteers today, what we do with the money that the city of Biloxi gives us is it goes directly to helping us recruit and train and support more volunteers. So that means it's going to take us longer to serve those kids, and kids like Haley's sister wait, and sometimes they never get up on our wait list to be served, and it's simply not acceptable.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. You have a question?
Yeah, I just want to thank you and all your volunteers. I know the job that y'all doing is hard. To go into some of these families and see some of these kids, I can't even imagine. I mean, I know it's heartbreaking. And you'll never ask for more money. You always ask for the $20,000. Some people come here and always ask more and more and more. I know y'all would love more, but I appreciate y'all. My heart goes out to y'all. I mean, y'all doing a fantastic job, and I wish, y'all can find a lot more advocates for y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, Wayne. I'd just like to say, I have several CASA volunteers who just a testament to who they are. They sat back here with us since 1:30. So if you're one of my CASA volunteers, please stand. and these are all folks serving CASA children, but they all live in the city of Biloxi.
Question,
Yes, sir.
Cynthia, if you don't mind. You said because you serve multiple counties.
Yes, sir.
So there are other entities that contribute as the city of Biloxi has in the past as well, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
I assume the other coastal cities, do they all contribute, and do the counties contribute as well?
Yes, sir. All 3 counties that we serve, Harrison, Hancock, and Stone, all contribute. Not every city, but currently Biloxi, Gulfport, D'Iberville, Pass Christian, Diamond Head, and Wiggins do contribute. And our city and county funding requests constitute 8% of our organizational budget. So we are fully aware of that and don't expect the local city and municipalities to fund our operation completely. But just like Stacy mentioned with the Center for Nonviolence, these funds help us to best utilize them and be able to, I think, maximize each dollar.
All right, thank you, Ms. Zapata, and thank your volunteers.
If I may, real quick, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Creel first,
Yeah,
and then
just-
Mr. Shoemaker.
Real quick, I just want to applaud you, first of all, in your efforts. Not only are you sitting here requesting money, I get it, understand, and you just minimalize it with the 8%, but what you do through your organization to raise additional funds with your fundraisers and community support, thank you. Instead of coming here looking for 100%, you're coming here and sharing the wealth. And when you got stake in the game, not only financially, but as you showed today with your success story, congratulations, young lady. Thank you for your efforts and look forward to supporting you.
Mr. Shoemaker?
And I would just say, sorry, David, I would just say, all of the accolades go to these heroes. To hear one story of a kid that was impacted, but really, I'm so blessed to have been doing this for 25 years and to hear dozens of stories. But for the 25 to 50 stories I've heard over 25 years, there's thousands of kids who we just couldn't do enough for. And it's not acceptable. And I know there are enough people in this city that care enough about kids that there should not be a waiting list of kids in Biloxi that need an advocate. The Haley sisters should not be. So if anyone listening or anyone in the room feels motivated to want to be a CASA volunteer, we'll be back here in just a month training another class.
Thank you, Ms. Zapata. Anything else? Mr. Shoemaker?
And I know you mentioned volunteers a lot, and you have, if I'm not mistaken, around 150 volunteers. But for every 30 volunteers,
Yes, sir.
you have to pay someone, correct?
Yes, sir.
So it's not
According-
all volunteers?
Yeah, according to National CASA standards, for every 30 volunteers, I have to have a paid staff member, because the service they provide is certainly most seen by making monthly visits to see these kids, but it's also going to the courtroom and testifying in a court proceeding. And we serve kids, but we also serve at the pleasure of the court. So the judge wants the facts that my volunteers bring to the court, and they make recommendations during the court process. And 96% of the recommendations that my volunteers have made, the 159 of them, in all 3 counties have translated into court-ordered services for child victims of abuse and neglect.
Thank you, Ms. Zapata.
Thank you.
One more, can I say one more thing?
Sure,
One more
Mr.
thing
Gray.
quick. No. No. I've been to a CASA event and the judges stood up and talked about how great and how this organization is and they wish they had a lot more to help out that they don't. And I come from our local judges. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you again, Ms. Zapata. Thank you. Anybody else? Three minutes. Mr. Pringle. Walk faster, Woody. Walk faster. Okay. All right. I know I Pringle. I'm sorry. I meant Woody Bailey, not Woody Pringle.
I know, he's not, the other gentleman's not with us any longer. I'm glad to be here.
That's right. Hey, welcome aboard. That's right.
Just to bring y'all up to date, last year we had a record-breaking 10,334 vehicles that registered for cruising, 41 states, 4 foreign countries. We were again voted the #1 car show in the country. That's the 7th year in a row that we've been voted that particular honor. We're up against 19 other shows all over the United States. This year is our 30th anniversary, October the 4th through the 11th. Our pre-registration's ending tonight. We're going to be probably ending around 9,000 that are pre-registered. We are preparing overall. We'll register on site when we open up on October the 5th, which is our registration day starts. Right now we're at 41 states: Australia, Canada, England, Germany, and New Zealand, and well over 1,000 first-timers. So we've been running 400 or 500 ahead this year. So looks like it's going to be a big year this year. The city of Biloxi is hosting more events than any other city. There are 9 events that are being held in the city of Biloxi. Tuesday is Margaritaville Cruise In. We moved from Gulfport, the flamethrowing event, to the IP. IP is going to be hosting it Tuesday night. Wednesday is our car corral at Treasure Bay. Biloxi Block Party, of course, is here, followed by a big evening at Beau Rivage. All of our celebrities will be there that night. On Thursday, we have our 3-day events at Edgewater Mall, the swap meet, and the auction at the Coliseum. And then we finish up Saturday night with Jay Leno here at Beau Rivage. So it's going to be a really big cruising week in the city of Biloxi. So everybody's working hard. We're having a meeting tomorrow with all the city department heads, and we're looking forward to that, to having a great event this year. And we would very much appreciate your support for this year's event.
Questions from the council?
Question real quick, and I know Mayor Rick was working on this, is possibly soliciting Keesler to assist with some staffing to assist in the event to make sure we can accommodate the needs that you guys are going to need. I know they're looking at doing some time changes as far as adjusting to where we can accommodate and use our staff more to benefit and be able to be everywhere we need to be. 10,000 plus cars. I mean, you keep growing this thing every year, so we appreciate your efforts. 1,000.
Any other questions from the council?
Woody, you mentioned you're a little ahead on registrations. How much are you ahead on your registrations at this point?
Right now, we're running around 400 ahead of where we were last year.
Yeah. So,
and as high as 600 ahead this year. So it varies. So we'll know more about that as we finish up registration.
All right. So, some of the things that the city of Biloxi has done in the past, I know we've put some traffic controls in place and all that kind of stuff. I know this is not really an operational thing, but while you're here, I'm going to mention it to you. Is there anything we might be able to do better to help the traffic flow, in your opinion? Well, I got you in a captured audience right now.
This is the largest special event, to my knowledge, in the state of Mississippi, and at the time that we need all 4 lanes of Highway 90, we reduced Highway 90 to 2 lanes. I understand there's a lot of concerns. I think there potentially be other ways to work the traffic situation, but you know, we need all those lanes as best we can because we have, you know, a big crowd here in town.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all do a great job. It's a signature event, no doubt. And I've said this, I've been up close and personal with this thing since the inception. From an ADR standpoint, if anybody doesn't know what that means, that's the average daily rate that you pay for a hotel room. The average daily rates during cruising the coast for over a week, this is a 7+ day event, is higher than Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July weekend, or any other event that's held on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And that's saying something. This is an October event, not a summer event, when our rates are usually high. The rates are higher because of the demand and because of what kind of event this is, and people want to come and enjoy this. So that's important to point out on what this event has been able to contribute to us when you could shoot a cannon down Highway 90 and not hit anything in October.
From an economic standpoint, we are doing our economic impact study this year. We do one every 5 years, so we'll be doing one this year.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Anything else? Thank you, Mr. Bailey, not Mr. Pringle. Mr. Bailey, I apologize for that.
For y'all, I'll let know.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right. Kay?
Okay.
I saw that.
I am here on behalf of Biloxi Main Street. We are a 501c3 that falls under the non-departmental budget. And just to say a few things that we do, one thing I wanted to say is that since 2023, we have gotten over $1 million in grants for the city for different things. I have a list of them if you would like to see. Banners, trash cans, signs, all sorts of things. So we help make the city of Biloxi better. And there is a grant out there right now, another MMSRG grant for $500,000 that I would be happy to write if the city would be able to come up with the match funding. So it would be a total of $625,000 that the city could have to spend on what you want it to spend. I will be happy to write that within grant parameters. We are grant writers and we can help. So through our downtown services. So if you are interested, I'll be happy to help you with that. Also, the MMSRG grant that I just came for to get y'all to sign on August 4th. Some of the council evidently wanted us to see if we could divert some of that money towards some other things. And we are meeting with Mississippi Power on Thursday to see what other options are available for Howard Avenue. If you would like to meet with us, to meet with Mississippi Power to see what things we're going to do for that, I'll be happy to let you know about that meeting. It's not totally confirmed. We're hoping it's Thursday at 11, making sure it fits on everybody's schedule, and we're going to look at what we can do with some of that funding. More of that money from MMSRG, the additional grant money that's open right now, and I think we have either till the end of August or till September 11th to apply for that additional grant money, $625,000, but you would have to come up with $125,000 in match. Right now, I'm matched out. That's what I use for part of the funding that we receive from the city. We use it for match monies towards grants. We use it for community events. We don't charge the citizens of Biloxi. We provide the citizens of Biloxi and tourists. We have tourists that come to every event that we do, things to do that make Biloxi what Biloxi is. We use it for First Fridays, Cruising the Coast Block Party. We pay for that. We use it for the pop-up events. We use it to paint murals. We use it for lighting. I just fixed string lighting on Rue Magnolia that needed repairing. If it needs repairing, we fix it. We use it for trash cans. I've got 2 brand new trash cans sitting on my patio right now that I'm about to place. Those were $900 a piece. So we buy gift certificates for businesses to support the businesses downtown, and we help and we partner with them and all the events they're doing. We're partnering with the Rue Magnolia businesses for their tailgate event this Saturday. We're partnering, we're creating an event for West Howard Avenue businesses September 26th. So we do things for the city, for the community, but that additional funding helps us be able to do all these things. Without that funding, there's a lot of things that we could not do. We wouldn't have the money to match for grants. We wouldn't be able to have First Fridays. We wouldn't be able to paint additional lighting. I wouldn't be able to buy more trash cans. There's just a lot of things that we utilize that money for. So Biloxi Main Street appreciates your support.
Any questions, Mr. Creel?
Question. So have we received a request from Main Street with the amount?
Yes. We requested $50,000.
Did you send something officially in?
I'm not sure if that happened, but it's on it is on there.
Yeah, no, the 50,000's on there. However, we have not received an official request of what you're asking for, so that's...
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah, we would need that, definitely. I noticed on the fee waivers, it looks like Gulf Coast Main Street Corporation, I'm assuming that y'all, we did $12,400 in fee, waiving the facility fees. Can you elaborate on, it looks like it was New Year's Eve? Gulf Coast Main Street, 12/31/2026, $600, and then Gulf Coast Main Street, 12/31/2026, $11,800. It was $12,550. We made $750 off of the $12,400 waiving,
On New Year's Eve?
according to my sheet here, right? It was compiled by our contracts.
I would have to look and see. We didn't have an event on New Year's Eve, so.
Yeah, I'd be interested just to know what the $12,400 was
Yeah.
that we,
There's a lot of things that come through Main Street that's not actually Main Street. I mean, like the tax abatement programs, we're about to have a tax abatement for Desports, and that's not actually Main Street funds, but
yeah,
it,
but that wouldn't make our facility rental,
yeah.
the tax abatement wouldn't. This is just facility.
Yeah, I'll check into that definitely and see what was $12,000 for, that went to Gulf Coast Main Street.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Marshall, did you have a question?
Yes, on that grant you were discussing, we're in the process of trying to put together a district over in the area. We could definitely use something like that. Do you foresee of any way we can work with you on that?
I'll be happy to work with you on it. Like I said, if you have the match funding for it, because right now I had to use all of my funding to go toward the MMSRG grant that we just approved. So if you've got the match funding, I'll be happy to help you write it and submit it.
Okay. When will you be available to discuss this?
I would be available tomorrow.
Sounds good.
You can just call me and we'll match our calendars together.
Okay. All right, me and Mr. Wayne would like to discuss that with you.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any other questions or comments of Ms. Miller? Thank you, Kay.
Okay.
Other three, yes, ma'am, hurry, skip, dash.
Hi, my name is Barbara Lemon, and I'm...
Say your name again, please, Barbara.
Barbara Lemon, Lemon.
Okay.
I serve on the board of the Women's Resource Center, and I think y'all got a letter in regards, we were requesting $20,000 that we sent. Y'all have been very generous. Thank you over the past years to support our center. Growing demands, we're trying to expand, outreach more, educational classes. Yeah, y'all will have to ask me questions.
All right, you're with the Women's Resource Center? Okay, that's very about. Were there any questions of Ms. Lemon about the Women's Resource Center? Mr. Gray?
No question. I just want to thank y'all also for doing what y'all do to help people that need y'all. Just thank you. That's all I have to say.
Any other questions?
So this is countywide, the Women's Resource Center, or just City of Biloxi?
It goes from Hancock to Jackson County.
Okay, so it is countywide. Okay, perfect. All right, thank you.
Any other questions, Mr.
Just two questions.
Shoemaker?
Do you mind giving us just a brief of what you guys do?
So it's geared towards women and families, but women who come in our center are generally seeking resources and ways to provide for pregnancy, and that is if they choose to keep their pregnancy. So we fund the ultrasound person. We have several medical staff. We have a nurse, the ultrasound person, and our goal is to help them value and see the value of life. And then we stay with them through their pregnancy if they choose to keep the pregnancy, their child. We stay with them for 2 years. They can take educational classes. They take classes while they're pregnant, and then they take classes for parenting classes. So that kind of helps prepare them. And they also and as they come to classes and learn more about their life and we're also offering classes for men too, the fathers, which has been where we've been growing. And then they have resources for them to be able to take home to supplies, that kind of thing.
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to share that I had just learned more about the state of Mississippi and how the family is, we're number one for absentee dads, and as far as in the states. And so our goal is to reach men and bring them into our center and educate them on their roles as fathers. So we're trying to work more cohesively as a family.
Good, good. And if this funding was reduced, would that be detrimental?
I think the word detrimental, that would probably not apply. We would have to find new resources to make up for that, because we are adding on and increased expenses. But we appreciate the consideration, though, because we understand the places y'all are at. So I don't know if that answers your question. Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Ms. Lemon.
Thank you.
Next. That's all right, Ms. Hunt. We have trained professionals to help you up to the table if you need assistance.
Trained professional.
I'm sitting. Okay. You want to my name is
You
Sue.
got a board member with you.
I know.
All right. Did you say motion to adjourn?
Since it's all gentlemen, I brought me a mail. Anyway, my name is Susan Hunt, and I think most of you know this is Patrick spoke earlier. Patrick's on the Coastal Mississippi Mardi Gras Museum Board and serves with us, and of course I'm president. I think I've called all of you. I talked to you about the situation, but basically our executive director has resigned. So right now we do not have an executive director. We're still asking for the monies that you all have given us, because as most of you know, we pay rent and we pay insurance. Our employees have no benefits, so they don't have any benefits. Patrick, anytime you want to chime in, please chime in. So we do donations, we do grants. We received a grant. We do membership drives. Thank you, Dr. Tisdale, for being a member. We do a lot of tours, with school tours as well as adult tours. And we have a lot of history, heritage, and of course we do the Children's Marching Parade, shoebox float contest. So Mardi Gras is kind of history in our community and lots of fun. But right now, Patrick, if you want to chime in, anything you'd like to contribute.
Got it covered.
But we definitely need your support. And yes, sir, Mr. Creel, are you going to ask a question?
Yes, ma'am. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, your lease is up this year. Is it to be renewed, or has it just been renewed?
We just renewed our lease for 5 years.
For 5 more years.
Right. So,
Okay.
I will say this. We're in the process of taking a look and trying to do some fundraisers to try to find and purchase a building. That's one of the things we'd like to do, because we're not in, as you know, we're not in a city-owned building. So that's kind of where we are.
I believe the only hiccup some of us had, or heartburn rather, was in the contract itself, to where we were responsible for the maintenance and repairs on a private building. But if we just renewed the lease, I'm sure that administration had looked at that and tried to fix it. When we came over from the Magnolia Hotel, we just adopted the same lease and same contract with Mr. Graves. So that I thought it was coming up, but my staff, I know I had talked to Peter about it before. So your current hours of operation now are just Tuesday, Wednesday for right now?
Wednesday right now, we go from 10 to 4, and we're in the process of trying to find some volunteers. Could find some, also we're looking out there to get some part-time, and then we do tours like my name and number is on the front door, so that anybody has a phone call that wants to do a tour. I've already had 2, then they call me on my number, and then we make arrangements to do what we can.
That's right.
Mr. Mayor?
Private number.
Mr. Mayor, would you turn your mic off, please? Thank you.
Yeah.
So, but that's kind of what it is. But if we could find something, we'd go sit down and talk to Mr. Graves, but as it is right now, we had to sign
So it's for 5 years. So
yeah, I think we had, yes, sir, in October. So that's one of the situations that we're dealing with.
oh, perfect. Thank you.
Any
yes,
other questions from the council? Any comments?
I got my bread.
What did you say?
I got my bread.
Right. Remember that, please. I thank y'all for all your support and all your help. Trust me, I thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Anytime
Hunt.
you want to come, I'm almost finished. Anytime you,
I'll take that thank you back then.
anytime you'd like to come and dress up, and be a part of the children's marching parade or anything, I'm going to be calling you all to participate, okay?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chubb, for offering moral support.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, who's next? I know we have a group from the library. I know we have a group from CTA. Are there any other entities out there besides CTA or the library that want to speak? Okay, do I need to flip a coin to see who goes first? Okay, the library, thank you. Just two.
So I know y'all all know I'm Sarah Rescue with the library system. You've probably all met Mike, who is the assistant.
There you go, get
I'm
close to
Sarah
the
Rescue
mic.
with the library system. I like to stand up, so this is really hard for me to do this. I like to pace. Mike Alexander is our assistant director. I also have Tara Morgan, who is the manager at Margaret Sherry, and Jonathan Bell, who's the manager at the West Biloxi Library. So I think Carrie has this presentation, but I gave it to you because I'm going to try to make it more efficient, but also still let you have some of the information that I'm going to skim over. So I'll just go ahead while we're waiting for the presentation. We are asking for a flat budget would be our ideal situation, but I have provided you with various scenarios that I'll get to in a moment. So because we not being a department, we didn't have a target cut, so we've given you different options and what that would mean for us and for library services. So just really quickly for the services part, we have accomplished a lot, I feel, with our staff, our talented staff, and your investment in our operations. For example, we had over 100,000 visitors to our 4 Biloxi branches. We checked out over 129,000 items, and that's just physical items. We also had digital items that we don't break down by city, so that's harder to give you a number. Our staff really stepped up this year, and again, with rather limited resources, did over 600 programs in those 4 branches, and we had over 10,000 people attending the programs that we provided. So can you jump to the budget information? Okay, you can go to the next slide. And the next one. Thank you. So it's hard to quantify what we do, and there are some calculators that take the data of the number of visits, the number of items checked out, to give a kind of an estimate of the value that is produced by our services. So your investment of $793,000 produced around $3 million in value for your investment. And we think if I were a stock investor, I would find that a pretty good rate of return. So a little background on our ask and on where we are looking at the cuts, because not everyone's familiar with it, especially our citizens. Maybe you are more. But we are a political subdivision, so we're in the non-departmental. This really wasn't the intent of the state legislation that established libraries, nor was it the intent of the contract that established the Harrison County Library System. What is underlined there is what is in the contract that created the system back in the 90s, was that the system shall be supported by dedicated millage, and that didn't happen. So as a result, we are here in the non-departmental, and it's a bit of a strange place for a a city service. You know, we have lots of similarities with your other departments like Parks and Rec. We provide a lot of benefits to citizens and I'm not going to go into all those unless you ask me questions about it, but we are in this position. Since we are in non-departmental, or partly because of that, over the last 20 years or so, our budget has been pretty flat. There was a period of 10 years or so, a little bit more, where there were no increases at all, and there were actually some decreases. That has meant over time that with inflation that y'all talked about earlier in your regular meeting, that has meant less purchasing power, less staff, and we have a smaller book budget than we did in 2004. So that's the effect that it's had on us over the last 20 years or so. Another really important thing that I want to underline in talking about where we're starting behind is the way I would describe it. So our staff, we have 28 folks in our Biloxi libraries. Our staff start at $11.15 an hour. Of those 28, 22 make less than $15 an hour. That's y'all's starting salary for a brand new person. Of the remaining 6 that make more than $15 an hour, 4 of them are managers, and 2 of them are longtime employees. One has been with the system for 26 years. The other one has been more than 10. No one in Biloxi libraries makes more than $20 an hour, even those 6 who are above 15. So that's just to kind of give you a bit of context. During this time, the general fund has grown about 11%, and some departments have grown 100% or more. So just to let you know, we feel like we're a bit behind, and so these cuts have more impact on, because we're already not providing the services that I feel like a city in the most prosperous region in the state should have. We can skip to the effects to library services slide. So like I said earlier, since we're not a department, we didn't really have a target. I feel like you probably asked your folks to cut a specific amount. So I have prepared a summary for 5%, 10%, 15, 20, 25, and 50. And these are just some of the highlights of those. The 5% would mean that we can't replace any small equipment or any items like that. A lot of y'all may remember when we came a few years ago to ask for computer replacements. That's been 6 years for those. We replaced a few in the meantime, so we can't do any of that. We wouldn't have any other small equipment, and we'd have to cut our book budget by about 40%, and that would reduce it by about 1,800 items. If it were 10%, and this is prioritizing staff, like the thing I want to do last is cut staff, because we aren't book warehouses. We are libraries, and we need people to provide the programs, the help, the computer assistance, and all those things, the expertise, the children's programs, all that kind of stuff. So that's just a note. This may not be the way my board decides to handle any cuts that come down. So the 10%, 88% reduction, that would be 132 books for the whole year for each branch in Biloxi. And an important note in this section is if we go 10% or more, we get into a problem that's called lack of maintenance of effort. We get about $200,000 from the state. If we do not maintain our local funding at a certain rate, and there's a kind of a formula that I won't go into, we could lose that $200,000. We almost lost it back in, I think it was 21 or 22, when we got cut about 30,000, but luckily it was just under the threshold and it didn't happen. So that's a worry that we have. If we lost that additional 200,000, that would really cause issues throughout the system. So again, 15%, all the book budget's gone.
So a cut of 10%, would you lose that maintenance of effort funding, or you're subject to lose it?
Subject to lose it. Like
Okay.
there are some appeals processes, but if we are specifically targeted, for example, if you cut us 10%, 11%, but you give money, you don't cut that same amount to the other things then we're targeted, I guess, is the way it's seen. So we'd be subject to it. We might be able to make a case, but
And there's a state library commission, I would assume,
Library
that
commission.
makes that decision.
yes, they are our accrediting institution, and they are the grantor. They're a pass-through for the state funding.
Thank you.
Yes. And I don't want to go into all of those if you don't want to hear them, but I'm happy to. You should have, I sent like a line item detail to everyone, so you can, it has the same notes on each one.
Thank
like
you
what would happen.
thank you for doing that.
Yes, I'm
appreciate
sorry
that.
I didn't do
You
it
may have
initially.
sent it more than once.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I've seen it more than once, but I know that we received a copy.
Yes, I'm not sure. I transmitted it to more than one person to make sure you got it. So I'm happy to answer questions on that, because again, I know we're sort of an anomaly in funding. I wish we were independent and we didn't have to be in your non-departmental budget and we had a different funding mechanism, but we don't.
Okay, questions?
I got a question. So I looked at and thank you for the presentation and the scenarios. That helps us a little bit. If there was a cut or a reduction, would the county, has there been any definitive dialogue with the county of them maybe picking up a little more slack if there was a reduction on the city end?
We have our hearing tomorrow, so I think they're probably going to be making their decision along the same timeline, so I don't know that we would have the opportunity to request that from them. They currently, I don't know if you noticed the bottom line on this, but the costs for the libraries is a bit more, like our personnel budget is $820-ish thousand. So the rest to run the libraries already comes from them. So, but that's possible, but I don't know that they would be, I don't know.
And of course, the insurance to insure the buildings falls on the city over and above this, right? It's not included in this.
No, the city, because I don't have access to that, we pay contents insurance, but we
That's
don't pay
right.
the building insurance.
But the city insures the building over and above
Yes.
this requested amount to operate. And your employees do qualify for participating or not in our program, insurance program?
Our employees are members of PERS.
Okay.
And we have our own insurance program. It's the state, just like the teachers, we have that insurance.
Okay. The maintenance on like air conditioning and the roof, does the county do that or the city does it?
For the Biloxi buildings, the city, they're
That's right.
city-owned, yeah.
Okay, so that's over and above
Yes.
this as well. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Mr.
Also,
Creel?
so the janitorial services, that's on the city as well?
It depends. I believe Wool Market, we pay for that, but it's a mishmash for the utilities and the janitorial. We have, if you see, there's a line item for Jana King for one of the branches, but I believe it's Wool Market.
Okay, so
And we pay for the janitorial, like the supplies that they use.
I appreciate what you guys do. I think you provide a valuable resource, and I think each branch is unique within itself. For example, West Biloxi, I think, provides a service for a much older, maybe job-seeking individual, as opposed to Margaret Cherry is more teenagers, adolescents that are using it. I drive by at night and we'll see a mom sitting outside in the parking lot while the child is using the Wi-Fi from the library doing homework on the iPad or what have you. So I understand the value. My only, I guess, the saltiness where it comes from is the sky is falling message that was put out earlier this year on social media. I truly think that, and I've only been here, this is my second budget sitting here with the library. I think we've been very receptive to assisting with the library and stepping up to make sure that we can get what is needed. For example, the roof at your West Biloxi Library, I think we've been good stewards, and I believe the sky is falling message that was put out on social media, I'm not sure if that was by design, but the message that got there and the phone calls that each one of us received with the dire need, and I have a lot of elderly in Ward 4, and for them to call me and be so concerned that they can't sleep at night, that the library's closing, I think is a false message. And we're supposed to be a team. I think we need to do a better job of the messages that we put out, and we need to work together on those messages and not worry our constituents. You can't borrow worry. We worry when we need to worry, and I think that the message needs to be that we're going to work together, that's going to do the best for our city of Biloxi, for the city libraries, and for our city residents. And by doing that, then we can work together. The sky is falling message was not well received by the residents, nor by several council members. I just want to let you know that.
Well, I would respond to that, and I appreciate your saying so, because my desire and goal, one of my favorite things to do is partnerships. We do a lot of partnerships with people in the community. I would have to say that we don't always feel like part of the team since we're in the non-departmental, and our response was one of concern and panic, honestly, when the council stated that their goal was to cut 25% of this non-departmental budget. That was why we made that choice, to let the citizens know that, because a 25% cut could have no result other than a closing library. There's no way we could absorb that cut if you looked at the line item, because our costs, the only things to cut are people and books, basically. We cut some little things here and there, but we don't have vacant positions. We don't have vehicles we can defer. We have to pay the electric bill, the insurance, and all that stuff. So I apologize if that was the message, because it wasn't the intent. It is my desire always to work together, and I feel like this council has been wanting and craving more communication, but it hasn't quite gotten to the point where we feel looped into what you're thinking and your decision process. So I would love to, going forward, have work sessions or communication with you so that we can better get the message on the same page. I would welcome.
Absolutely, and just so you know, the intent that was, when it was mentioned in that meeting, it was, we need to look at non-departmentals and make those cuts. It was a vague statement. It was only, there was another council member that brought up individual accounts, and it was followed up with all need to be looked at.
That was a message we heard.
Right, but at the same time, taking that message and running with it rather than going to the individual that said it and getting clarification, that way both of y'all could have put out a positive message, and going forward, we could have created or prohibited a lot of the concern that was out there. We want to work with you guys. I know your librarian out there, Margaret Sherry. I've known her all her life, and she does a wonderful job. I hold my ward meetings there. They accommodate me. They accommodate the other groups that meet out there, your Lego groups and all the things that meet out there. She does a great job of marketing that library, and the last thing I want to do is prohibit that and stipend what she does and the passion she has for it. So I appreciate that, absolutely.
And I would say that we had a follow-up that I thought was very good, and we very much appreciated the transparency and the willingness to meet with us. So we will adapt, and we have learned of your sincerity.
Yes, right.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall.
That's your job, to speak up for the libraries. That's your job to make sure that your people that come to visit your library are aware of the situation, the dire situation that's at hand. So you speaking up, that's what you're supposed to do. Okay, I appreciate you doing it, because you're that voice for those people who can't come here and sit in that chair and talk. As far as the information you just gave me about your funding should have been through the millage, I'm going to be looking into that. It's news to me. That was of all the things that you've said, that's something that we need to be looking into to see, how can we get you back on the right track as far as your funding to go. I've always said from the beginning, the library is what we call a core responsibility of a city. It's not a choice, it's a core responsibility. If you even Google it, it tells you the library is the core responsibility. So I'm not going to sit here and say that we didn't like the way that you said something. I don't care how you say it. Truth is the truth. I appreciate you. Okay? Keep speaking. Don't ever let anybody quieten you up. Also remember this. If we can give it to you, we're going to try to give it to you. But as you can see, there are budget constraints we are going through, and it has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. Thank you.
My only comment would be, I believe that millage could be tied or dedicated to the library, and I believe that millage is not subject to the 10% millage increase.
Is not.
I think if I read that
I looked at it yesterday.
right, and I don't know where we are on a timeline, whether that could be implemented at any time or whether it has to be done at budget time, and it may be it's got to be done at budget time. That's a Peter question as far as I know. Any other questions? You're Mr. Nail, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, go ahead.
Since
Mr.
the
Nail.
Biloxi West reopened, you know, tell the difference? I mean, a lot of people came back, or did you get new people in?
Yes, it took us a minute to get back up to speed because we had staff attrition. As I told you, we pay $11.15 an hour, and we had some staff move elsewhere or go back to school and so forth. So we were closed on Saturdays, and we had to stop the programs that were on Saturdays, but now we're back up to speed, and the folks are coming back, yes. So we appreciate those repairs.
How you like that police presence?
Very much, yes.
Woods are gone behind you.
Yes, yeah, we appreciate that as well, and yeah, the police have been very, very helpful in patrolling, and
I look over there every morning, I go, there to go again.
thank you for ensuring that's happening.
Thank you. Mr. Shoemaker had a question, I believe.
Well, I've actually got quite a few things. And I'll start out by saying I supported the library every year I've been on the council, and I still support it today. And I want to support it. I don't know how there's 7 of us, so I don't know how everybody's going to vote next week or whenever we vote on this. I'm going to agree with what Councilman Creel said. I was disappointed in the message that you sent out originally. And certainly social media is the place to go and place to advertise. But personally, the 7 of us are making the decisions, not the people on Facebook. I would have much preferred you contacted me and spoke to me about $800,000 instead of social media. We got another letter, which I appreciate it. It's got all these, what I took it as an ultimatum. Maybe it wasn't, or maybe that's what it was intended for.
Not at all.
I took it as an ultimatum, and maybe, I guess because when I see Wool Market Library, and not that my library is any special than the other 3 libraries, however, we have 4 in the city of Biloxi, which quite frankly is probably more than how many cities in the state. And there's going to be cuts, I would imagine. I don't know, this says 25% cut. You're going to shut down and close Wool Market Library. And then at a 50% cut, that's a scenario to close as well. Well, my disappointment, and I certainly hope you revisit this, the difference in Wool Market Library and the other 3 that are all south of the interstate. Wool Market's north of the interstate. I have no public transportation whatsoever. So when that library closes, there's a lot of people in Wool Market that won't be going to a library. They can't go to Gulfport or Harrison County either because there's no Gulfport or Harrison County library close to Wool Market. They can't take public transportation because we don't have it. They can't go to the school, all these state-of-the-art schools that are scattered all throughout the city, the kids that are in schools, because I don't have a school in Wool Market. What we have is probably the oldest school in Harrison County that's an elementary school, and I can't imagine what kind of library they have. So I'm beyond disappointed that that was even on the chopping block. Maybe it's cut, and you can cut it. I mean, that's your decision, I guess, if that has to be cut. However, it's beyond disappointing that that's even on here. And I've really got a whole list of questions, and I'm not going to ask all of them. But, and I know you, when you sent something else, you were in here, and I know you've come in here and kept us abreast on some things, and you asked us to contact you. We've got a list of dozens of people that are contacting us. To me, if you're trying to secure over $800,000, a phone call to me would have been fantastic. Maybe you've contacted them. I've gotten 0 phone calls, no emails, no text messages. That would have been fantastic to have, because I have, as you can tell, a lot to say about the library system. I've got a list of questions, and quite frankly, I was going to ask them. All I'm going to do is take up more time. I'll leave it with this. Please, regardless of how this comes out, this vote, and what the final budget you guys are asking for and what is approved, I would please ask you to relook at Wool Market closing. I don't know if that's the way it's going to go with our money and what we give you, but I would ask that there will be no one, I won't say no one, there will be a lot less people from Wool Market. They will not have access to a library if that library is closed. I don't know the numbers of all the libraries, but I would think they're doing pretty good and have a lot of people that frequent that library, at least people that tell me they frequent the library.
Yes. Well, just a brief response, because I know we're all very fatigued here. Like I mentioned earlier today, this is a scenario based on, it's hypothetical. The reason that Wool Market is in the first statement on that sheet that you got, that was definitely not intended as an ultimatum. It was suggested that I send what would happen with different cuts. So that's what the purpose of that was. Those operations fit that cut. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, the cost to run Wool Market is equivalent to that size cut. That doesn't mean that we would cut Wool Market. I could have given you a dozen other scenarios, but for the sake of just quantifying it in a visible way, that is why I suggested that for that amount. And then I gave the example of Margaret Sherry and West Biloxi for a different size amount, because those cost a different amount to run. So that's the reasoning. It's not to target Wool Market particularly, because I do appreciate that fact, especially with the growth that's happening in Wool Market, that there are more people going there, and when we are experiencing more usage there. So that is the logic of that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. That's all I have.
Shoemaker, last comment. We tender the witness. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Alexander, thank you. I think I do want to thank your staff who came out to help you from the other libraries. The supervisors or managers or fleet commanders, I don't know what their title is. But I see them at work. They do a wonderful job.
Some of them were snowball makers. Some of them were popcorn. Yeah, they had word.
I believe the last group standing, so to speak, is Coast Transit Authority. Ma'am, were you representing an organization in the first row? No, you're just here observing. Okay. All right. Right.
I do. I would like to.
If you need a cup, thank you, Mr. Rizzo, for being here. And let's say you have Mr. Foray and you have Mr. Braden out there, Commissioner. Thank you all for being here today as well. Somebody needs a better ringtone.
I'm going to say good evening.
Yeah.
I know we've been out here since 1:30, but first of all, thank y'all for the opportunity to present. I know I'm probably the last guy standing between you and your dinner, so I will move as quick as I can for you. First of all, I've been with CTA as the new executive director since February, so it's about 7 months. Still learning, and this is my first opportunity actually to sit on this side of the mic and present to a city council. For 8 years, I served as city manager and chief administrative officer in Diamond Head and Bay St. Louis. I've prepared 8 budgets, so I feel your pain. Familiar with it. Thank y'all to several people from Biloxi who represented y'all on July 10th at our Talkin' Transit event. I emailed out that presentation, which was pretty thorough, covered all of our information. I tried to be as detailed as possible, but greatly appreciate you taking time on a Friday morning to come visit with us and learn a little bit about CTA and what we do. I've tried to make a skinny version, was the term I used for Ocean Springs a couple of weeks ago, that focuses really on Biloxi. And I'm going to fly through it if y'all are okay. I did email this out to y'all previously, and I did it again today. But what current services does CTA provide? We've got the fixed bus route service, ADA paratransit service, senior transportation services, contract transportation services, coast commuter, beach bus stations, and emergency evacuations. In 2025, we moved 822,000 people across the Gulf Coast region. Specifically on fixed bus, we have 8 fixed bus routes in Harrison County, Jackson County, Gulfport, Biloxi, D'Iberville, St. Martin Community, and Ocean Springs. We run 12 buses, 4 trolleys. We operate Monday through Saturday from 5 a.m. to 9:23 p.m. Sunday is 7 a.m. to 7:08. So it's a full-time event. Our ridership on the fixed bus route system in 2025 was 671,000 people. We take 42 drivers to do that. We do run a hub and spoke system, basically out of our Gulfport and Biloxi transit centers. So everything kind of pulses out of there and is timed for all the buses to hit those locations at the same time so people can make transfers. And we run on a 45-minute and a 90-minute headway for technical terms. The next slide you'll see is just the routes that we have across the coast. Beachcomber is one of our most popular routes. It's Route 1 that runs from our Gulfport facility to Biloxi facility. We had 111,000 riders on that. It is one of our most popular routes, obviously, and we have 2 trolleys, not 4, running on that. That was an error that I typed in. And you can see the hours of operation. For us to run that for a year is 9,791 hours of operation. Route 2 is your casino hopper in Biloxi. That operates Monday through Saturday, 5:30 a.m. to 9:23, and Sunday, 8:30 a.m. to 7:08. That early time is getting people to work. Annual service hours on that is 10,626, and I stress the service hours because that's where, when you come to call it the ask, the money comes down to it, and all that tallies up. And we have 2 trolleys that are on that one. Ocean Springs doesn't impact y'all financially, but it's 24,000 riders. It's 2 buses. That one is, we are actually in the process, it does come into our Biloxi Transit Center so people can make transfers. As it comes over the bridge, we're in the process of redirecting that from Highway 90 over to Division Street. We're hoping, in fact, we're talking to Councilman Marshall about doing some kind of ribbon cutting or something in the 2 to 4 weeks. We should be there. Our software is very technical and old, a little archaic, and so we've been trying to get that move for many months now. So hopefully that's coming, but I wanted to show you all that one. Pass Road has 191,000 riders. Again, that goes from our Gulfport Transit Center on Pass Road to Biloxi Transit Center. That is the most popular route, and you can see the hours of operation with 8 buses operating there. So the Biloxi Transit Center is right down the street. It serves, again, as that hub and spoke system. Everything's timed to meet there at one time. So if you go there when all the buses are pulling in, you'll see everything collection, and then everybody jumps from bus to bus and moves on. We do have retail space there. We're in the process actually of gutting that space to make it a white box and get it rented. I do factor that into our formula, which I'll get to, as a credit towards what we do for Biloxi, but we are in the works of trying to get that rented and leased. It has not been leased, but we are in the process of trying to do that. It really serves as a multimodal facility as well. As you know, we have Amtrak now, Greyhound, and the Flix bus system in there, plus our buses. We also operate the beach bus stations in conjunction with Harrison County, so you have a few of those in Biloxi. That's FTA money, MDOT money, and then Harrison County covers about $60,000 plus for that operation. We do ADA paratransit service. So this is service for disabilities. We're required to provide that service 3/4 of a mile off of our fixed routes. That's something we have to do. That's door-to-door service for somebody who qualifies as a disability. It could be a senior citizen or somebody in a wheelchair. We moved 11,000 passengers doing that last year. ADA plus paratransit is something CTA chooses to do. And it's basically $2 a ride, but it's door-to-door service throughout the entire county of Jackson and Harrison County. So if someone's disabled in anywhere in the county or a senior and they qualify, we will go get them at their house and bring them to where they need to go.
Question, Mike.
Yep.
So, say if I'm a dialysis patient, would that qualify as a disability?
It could.
Okay, good. There's certain conditions that have to be met, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank
There's
you.
a form that FDA we kind of follow.
So, and that's only,
Fine.
and that cost of that is $2?
For our door-to-door service, correct. Unless you cross zones.
Okay.
Also, and I'll go ahead and stop on this right here. Harrison County contributes for senior services as well. I'll be there tomorrow, just like a few other people. And we do medical transportation that they help pay for in Harrison County. That's the entire county, door-to-door, 2 medical appointments, cancer, dialysis. So that.
And then you guys are instrumental as well with the evacuation in the event of a storm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Cold weather shelters, we have basically all the homeless people meet at a certain location. We transport them to a shelter and then bring them back after, exit the shelter.
Perfect.
Hurricanes, we do and you might have heard us on the radio advertising so people can sign up for hurricane evacuation.
They can do that ahead of time.
In the EOC, we have a chair for Harrison County EOC. So we're in that room when they're making decisions. Next page is just our vehicle replacement plan. We have over 50-something vehicles, so we have to have a plan on replacing that. It's called a TAMS plan for FTA that we've got to report to them. So obviously, we have to have a plan of what are we replacing, what is the life expectancy of those vehicles, because a large bus is 1.2 million, and now we can get a smaller bus for, let's call it 275,000, 285,000. So we're talking about expensive dollars. Historically, we have not going to our local communities and asked for local match, because we can get 85% FTA money to help us purchase those vehicles, and then we have to come up with the local match. And I'll cover other things of how we try to generate local cash and apply that again to the cities to reduce, and then generate money for our local. The next one you'll see, we bought 4 buses and 2 vans this year, all ADA accessible for $619,000. We were able to get FTA money for $562,000. And then CTA funded the 92 grand. On our customer survey, we survey 200 to 250 riders every month, just to find out who's riding our bus, why are they riding, what are they doing. 59% are daily riders. They're riding to go to work, 27%, recreation, 27%, which would make sense with the casino hopper and beachcomber, and shopping, 28%. The ones that are going to work, they're going to the casino. And so that's that 5 a.m. crowd coming probably from down Pass Road or from D'Iberville, going to the transit center, jumping on the beach casino hopper, and going to the hotels at the casinos. Your next one, do you own a car? 93% do not. Are you employed? 70%. Your salary, 83% make less than $25,000 a year. That kind of just describes who are we truly serving in our fixed bus route system, okay? Next one, we just kind of get into our comparisons of looking at our peers. We fall right in the middle with 11 riders per hour. The average for this group is 10. The next page talks about our operating costs and our fare box. What do we charge the rider? We generate 12% of our operating income off of fares. So we're generating more revenue from the rider than all of our peers. The average is 7%. Operating costs per vehicle revenue hour, that's something FTA tracks, is $97 per hour. We're the 3rd lowest in this peer group. You can see some all the way to 184. The average is $135 an hour. So we try to be as efficient as possible. At the Talking Transit event, I went into our staff and kind of said, how many administrators do we have? How many people, are in the office compared to boots on the ground or mechanics? Local government funding is a percentage of our operating cost. 17%, we're the lowest. The average is 53%. We try to be extremely efficient with our requests from our cities and counties. The next page is our budget, $10 million. $6 million of that is coming from FTA, another $480 from MDOT, and only 1.6 of a $10 million budget is coming from our local governments, meaning cities and counties. Self-generated revenue, that's again used for us to go provide local match, and we also use some of that to apply against what we have to go to the cities for. So passenger fares, advertising sales, if you see the side of our bus, a bus stop, a bench, if we can put a sign on it, Karen in our office is going to probably find a way to market it and sell it. But that generates money to the point of almost, our goal is 200 grand. We're not there yet, but that's our goal. We teach training classes to other entities on CDL training, how to secure a wheelchair. We generate money off of that. We charge them. We also service, do the mechanic work for a lot of other entities that have buses and other facilities like we do, because we can get it in and out based in our facility and trade, and do it for cheaper and get it out of there for faster. Basically turnaround. We also have the event rental center in the hub in Gulfport, which some of y'all have been to, and then we have our Biloxi lease space available. Again, all of that helps us not have to go to the local communities for a local match. So FTA requires us to have local government funding. That's part of their formula. CTA is not a taxing authority. I am a government entity, but I can't charge a sales tax. I can't charge a property tax. That's left to the local governments, and that's our cities and our counties. CTA requires our cities and counties to provide that local government funding in order for us to provide the public transportation we do across the system. One of the other things I touched on in one of the first slides was our coast commuter. We have 35 vehicles running across 4 states on a daily basis, bringing people to work. So if there's ever opportunity, if you've got a cluster of people somewhere, we work with Enterprise and a contract system with them to help people to work across from Pensacola all the way to West Wego and Hattiesburg on down. The next page talks about our service hours. Okay, so each bus system that we run says how many buses are on that route, what is the time on that route from Monday through Friday, what's the time on Saturday, what's the time on Sunday if there is a Sunday, and ultimately it comes to what's the total hours to run that vehicle or run that route for the year. The ones in blue are impact Biloxi. So you can kind of see what that is. We run 60,769 service hours on our fixed bus route for the year. Next slide shows you just Biloxi in blue, Beachcomber, Casino Hopper, Pass Road. Beachcomber and Pass Road is split between Gulfport and Biloxi. And for Pass Road, it's skewed. Gulfport has a higher because there was some change made for budget cuts type of thing, is my impression, several years ago. So I think on Sunday, there's a part of that bus doesn't make it all the way. I think there's one that doesn't do the same thing as doing in Pass Christian. I'm sorry, not Pass Christian, Gulfport, apologize. So total hours of service for Biloxi is 25,452 hours. It's 44% of our total service hours. If you go to the next page, I'm going to use the word dumb this down as possible because it's math, and made a spreadsheet tried to show y'all the exact formula that FTA is going to use for us. And it starts with what is your service hours? What is your cost per service hour? It's 87, which is less than the revenue hour that FTA reports. So we're using a smaller number. So it cost us $2.2 million to run the 3 buses for Biloxi. We're eligible for FTA grants for preventive maintenance, up to 25% of that. We're also eligible for 50% operating grant. And I've kind of showed you how that math works, and then that's reducing that $2.2 million. We have to subtract out our passenger fares. We subtract out advertising revenues that are applied for on a percentage to Biloxi. Harrison County, hope I don't get any pushback tomorrow, I don't think I will, gives about $200,000 a year to the fixed bus route service. We're applying 104 of that to Biloxi. and then a little bit goes to D'Iberville, and a little bit, the rest of it goes to Gulfport. And then we have the rental income. This year, we have 0 rental income off of Biloxi. Part of that's our own fault because we've had transition. But again, we're trying to take steps to gut that building, make it a white box, and get it rented. So I'm applying that as if that thing is going to be rented to reduce basically the ask to y'all. Ultimately, it comes down to, through FTA, MDOT, and these other sources, 81% of the cost to operate comes from somebody else. And then 19% is left to the city of Biloxi, which is $419,000. You can compare that to last year. Now, ultimately, the math equation based on the service hours. So we enjoy what we do. Our drivers love what they do. I hope y'all have gotten on that casino hopper and seen some of those drivers talk to the passengers. They have a ball. The people who are doing senior services are passionate about moving their passengers. They build relationships with them. Obviously, we know the baby boomers are aging, and the demand for senior services is increasing. Kind of like you asked about dialysis and other medical appointments. So that is things that we're seeing. And oftentimes, our driver is sometimes the only person that senior is going to talk to that day. And so people die and there's other impacts. That impacts our driver. It's a hard position for them to be in. The fixed bus driver, should I say, to me is the most difficult role, just because they're dealing with general public and everybody who rides bus. So any questions for me? I know, again, I'm trying to get y'all to dinner.
I do have a question, and this is, I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but Wool Market, for example, there's no route up there, but I know that at one time we explored a route that came south of the bay over to the Cedar Lake area, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Was it a trial route? It wasn't experimental. It was
They might have done a test route.
Maybe a demonstration route, and it was provided for, I don't know, maybe 3 months, possibly 4 months.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. So we did do a test run in that area, and it was just specifically Pops Ferry Road.
Right, to get a count of passengers to see if it was viable, and they couldn't move enough passengers. There was not enough demand.
One of the barriers was that they wouldn't go all the way to D'Iberville on the Cedar Lake Road. They wouldn't go all the way and connect to D'Iberville. They went the other route to connect on Pass Road. And they just didn't open it up. It didn't flow as much. It was a test. It wasn't successful. We didn't have enough volume on the ridership, and it was discontinued after that 3-month trial run.
So I'm wondering, just for the folks, Mr. Shoemaker, out there in terms of library, for example, or any other need for transportation for that matter, they could probably give you numbers on what it would cost to run that route. My experience has been that you'll provide whatever route the city wants, as long as the city pays for that route to cover the expenses. So it's based on demand. I can't remember what the magic number of passengers per hour is. Was it 6 or 7? 7. So maybe there's a demand there, maybe there's not, but I'm sure if you
One of the things that's in our
call.
budget for this year is upgrading our software, which I referred to Division Street, and it's been a challenge getting our route match software to make some adjustments. So in our budget, we're looking and starting to even demo new software for operations. Part of our hit list in there is to have what's called microtransit, which is Uberish-like. So running a fixed route is expensive. Y'all see it, okay? So, but if we can go out and run like an Uberish, where buses are going to run to people's houses and then bring them to the closest fixed route, I'm going to use that in simple terms. That is something in our hit list of our new software that we are going to explore, because it's a more cost-effective way to be able to bring people in Wool Market or other. You don't have the density,
right,
fixed route, but we can get out into the rural area, grab them, bring them close, bring them over to D'Iberville, bring them to somewhere that's
to clusters to make it more efficient.
Closest fixed route and put them on the system. So that is something we are exploring. We're not there yet. But, it's in our hit list for capital, and that's about $1 million purchase.
Any questions on, to my left?
Question for you, Mark.
How, on Gulfport side, on Cal and Lorraine, do y'all go north of the interstate?
Not on Cal and Lorraine, we're not on Cal and Lorraine.
That's all the question. I thought maybe y'all could turn down Lorraine Road and hit Old Wool Market Road and, make that a route. But if y'all don't go that way, it wouldn't probably be feasible.
Yeah, no, it's
That's all I
Pass
have.
Road, and then we'll get off of Pass Road, like to get up to Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College.
Right.
There's where there's some density, we'll try and jump in where we can pick people up.
Yeah.
Come back on.
Well, I was just thinking maybe if y'all was north of the interstate, y'all come that route, maybe pick some people up. That's just a question I had.
Mr. Glavin?
We're willing and able to have any conversation. That's one, to make it work. I mean, if there's a demand.
I have a couple of observations on your presentation. One thing that I am happy with, and for years, I've talked about increasing the fare box, and I'm glad your statistic shows that you're at the top end, or the top end of the fare box. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. And as far as what the government is subsidizing, you're at the bottom of the totem pole on the other side. That's a good thing too, because I think the way we're set up here with the casino industry, which is a lion's share also of where you bring workers, not only workers, you bring players and drop them off at their front door. That's a service, and that's a real good thing as well. However, the rubber hits the road. Yep, Ward 7 doesn't have public transit. Ward 6 doesn't have public transit, and that's okay. And a majority of Ward 4. But the other thing we're tasked with, two of our biggest non-departmental expenses is the library system, $800,000 or approaching or exceeding, and of course CTA, two of our biggest. And the library system did a real good job of saying if we made these reductions, what would it look like? I know you got a formula up there and say this is the math, this is what you owe, boom. But I still think we got to practically look at it. What services, what routes would be reduced if we did a 5% or a 10% reduction? What would that look like? That's 40 or 80, 40 at 10%, right? And 20 at somewhere around 25, 28 at the 5%. I think it's important for us to take a look at that. We're tasked with reducing this non-departmental. I said earlier in my council report, the ask this year is 2.6. It was 2.1 the year before. We need to be in that 1.5, 1.6 range, and two of our biggest expenses, we got to take a look at it. I said earlier, we can't have the county keep bailing us out. They don't have unlimited funds to do that either. Whatever they can do, we certainly would appreciate it to kind of soften the blow, and then once we get humming again and we're flush and some of these bonds roll off or tax abatements and new neighborhoods come on board and revenues start really humming again, then it's easier to make some of those other decisions. So long story short, I would like to see what happens if we did reduce it by 5 or 10%. What does that look like? It would be very helpful as we kind of make these decisions, just as it's been helpful for the library to give us that information.
In order to do that, what I would probably do is go to that 419, reduce it by the 5 and a 10, and work my way back up to total service hours.
That would be helpful.
All right.
And I'm just one of 7 up here. The others may want to increase, the expenses, but.
And then from there, we would have to go back into our 3 routes that I've talked to about that Biloxi pays for and start figuring out, okay, when is the least impacted people? Where's the routes that are impacted, or times? Maybe it's Sunday, maybe it's whatever. But we can look and we know how many people are getting on the bus at each stop.
Yeah, and I don't want to come across adversarial. You're a team Biloxi with us. You provide a wonderful service that we need, and we need to grow it. This year, we just got to fit that round peg in the square hole. That's all.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I would do.
That's all I got.
And if we need to, if Biloxi tells us that, we have to then follow FTA guidelines for reduction or canceling routes, or that we have to go to a public process.
Yes, sir.
But
thank you.
I can fill you in on that if we get there.
Any other questions or comments?
Anytime I'm available, please call me. Okay? even if it's not budget related.
My only thing y'all have to keep in mind is they provide a service for the elderly to get to a doctor's office and to the grocery store. They're the only ones that go out their way to get these people where they need to be.
That's funded by the county. That's funded by the county. That's separate.
No, it's not. They run in the city.
ADA, if they're ADA or qualify for ADA or ADA plus, that would not be county. But the majority of the senior service that we're talking about, medical appointments, things like that, will be county funded.
Yep.
So we're all over the county. I mean, I can grab addresses and throw them at a map for you. You can see that it's probably in every single ward, community.
And the county just supplies, if they have a doctor's office, a doctor's appointment, they can call you and put you on the schedule and you go get them.
So they actually go to the senior service department of Harrison County first. They fill out a form with them.
Right.
If they approve it, they send that form to us. And then we add them to our system and we start picking them up.
Yep.
So that's all I have. Thank you.
Also picking up people to bring them to the senior centers. If you've never visited the county senior centers, I'm sure possibly Biloxi has their own. Go visit. They're doing great work.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Rizzo. Before we...
Missed?
Possible Biscom. Yes, you are. And your support staff. Thank you, gentlemen, Mr. Ford and Mr. Braden, for attending today. Two things before I entertain a motion to adjourn. Mayor, do you have any recommendations based on what you've heard today? Any guidance you might offer us? We got a lot of hard decisions to make. You may have a thought or two or 26. Thank you, Mayor. The other thing is, council members, if you would, remember some of the questions. It's a long meeting today. It's been a long day, but if you have questions about things on the agenda, I give Mr. Weaver a call or an email, and he'll run down the answers for me. That may save you some time and save us some time. Or some of the items on the agenda, you can certainly contact some of those folks and ask questions before the council meeting. Anyway, having said that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Glavin, the Saltwater councilman.
Second.
A second by Mr. Creel, he's just a councilman. Any discussion? All in favor? We're adjourned on a 7-0 vote. Thank you.